Hello and Happy New Year! Welcome to another end-of-year retrospective/self-flagellation session. 2023 was weird. The best word I could use to describe it is polarizing, because it's been a year with a lot of problems outside of YouTube, but also a bunch of successes, yet basically nothing in between. In terms of analytics, the second half of the year has been somewhat of a success story compared to the first half. The daily stats had significantly increased over last year's, finally making up for the unpredictable stupidity of the random spikes. Yes, I'm still salty about those, but there's another reason to be salty, which I'll soon explain. Comparing 2023 to 2022 in terms of overall stats doesn't actually show a big improvement, again due to the stupid spikes. But as the second half of the year progressed, I could tell from the daily stats that I was getting about 60 to 80% more views than I usually did back in 2022. Although none of the videos have been huge successes, some have had growing views and started picking up momentum and crossing the curve. It felt nice to see Undead Knights go from underperforming to hitting the high end of the averages, because that thumbnail friggin' slaps, and Lufia has been steadily receiving views. I'm especially proud of that last one, because I really did put my heart into it so that I wouldn't regret not giving it the treatment it deserved in a few years. In fact, that became the untold story of 2023. Despite my intentions of focusing on quantity over quality and to just focus on chasing analytics, I consider the content I made this year to be of the absolute highest quality I've made so far in these years as a YouTuber. Pandora's Tower, Lufia and Original Generation 2 are what peak performance looks like. I also finally opened the Patreon, and it's been interesting to put out my thoughts regarding subjects that I normally wouldn't talk about here. So yes, the channel is on a pretty optimistic trend. Or at least it was until I released the Unreal 2 video. Unfortunately, the year ended on a whimper thanks to that video not just flopping, but also nuking all the progress I made this year, returning my channel stats back to early 2023 levels. The rest of the year felt very consistent up to that point. There was no bollocks like one video suddenly getting spammed for a couple of hours before getting shelved forever, nor did YouTube reward me for releasing 2 consecutive videos that performed terribly. Instead, December 13 came, Unreal 2 underperformed really hard, and I got slammed by the nonsense that I absolutely despise about the algorithm. The entire channel got sliced, with impressions taking a severe hit that resulted in a large drop in views. And yes, the click-through rate remains the same. YouTube simply decided that all of my channels should be getting recommended less after I released one underperforming video. It has recovered slightly since then, but it's apparent that the entire channel got crippled. As someone who has nothing else he can do besides release more content, it's very confusing to think that I probably would have been better off just not releasing that video. But as a YouTuber, what else am I supposed to do? So you know what? If the analytics are going to be stupid like this, then 2024 will be the year where I do the exact opposite of 2023. But I'll talk about my future plans in a bit. For now, let's look over last year's plans. The second half of 2023 was a big derailment from my plans, for better or for worse. After the Lufia video, real life decided to get in the way and I just couldn't make things on time anymore. So instead, I inadvertently shifted back towards quality over quantity. In my stupidity, I also changed my audio editing methods, cleaning up certain little sounds that I didn't really pay attention to before, but that I am now painfully aware of in my older content. As a result, I managed to improve my audio a bit, even if only a handful of people will even notice. The problem is that this has made the audio editing stage into a real mind-numbing chore. The time it takes for me to edit my voice has easily tripled. Editing 60 minutes of audio is something that I could previously do in a couple of hours. Now it can take an entire day. Also, dear YouTube, can you please fix the goddamn comment section already? Every other week there's a comment that shows up in one page but not on the other. 2023 has also been, without a doubt, the fastest filling year I can think of. I found myself having much less free time, especially in the second half, and it has been the first time that my video output has legitimately been totally crippled by my real life. It's been a real mess of problems and random intrusions, and I couldn't go for more than 30 minutes without some interruption or some other annoyance that prevented me from concentrating or recording my voice or whatever. Every other day I had to drive somewhere for several hours due to a whole bunch of family and health-related matters, and as usual we got slammed with unexpected expenses near the end of the year. I've also started having bouts of insomnia again, which is something I haven't had since about a decade ago, when I was still finishing my programming course back in 2012 or so. Plus, the world just keeps getting worse, doesn't it? Prices have gone up a lot since December of 2022, and every time I catch news about my country, I end up frustrated and angry with all the corruption infecting every facet of it. And it feels terrible to know that there's nothing I can do about it. In a lot of ways, it's been an even worse year than 2022. But at least this time, the positive highlights kind of saved the whole thing. It's been a very polarizing year, with nothing in the middle between excitement and misery. I already mentioned how my stats grew substantially, and I managed to earn a bit more money this year from other sources. Of course, the increased prices of everything and all the bollocks we had to deal with cancelled it out, but at least I made progress in that department. There's also been a lot of great games this year, and I found myself not only enjoying a bunch of different games in a more casual manner, but I've also been happily replaying older favorites. Even though I'm so used to emulating games on my PC, I've reminded myself that yes, I don't need save states, a fast forward button, and a flawless frame rate to have fun on original hardware, though it certainly helps. But most of all, 2023 made me reaffirm to myself what I want to do with my life. And I'm hoping this kind of showed in some of the content I've made this year. At least just as much as the bitterness did, I mean. But my writing and editing style has been shifting a bit recently, which you may or may not have noticed. Writing scripts is still, like, the hardest thing in the world for me right now. But doing YouTube has been a nice solace from everything else. Maybe that's just the festive spirit still having its effect over me, but we'll see. Anyway, about those future plans I mentioned earlier. At the start of 2023, I made a choice to focus on chasing success in an attempt to try and actually get somewhere in life. I changed the way I picked which games to cover, and I changed the format I used for the video titles. Did that have any influence on the stats? It's hard to say for sure, but I'm going to preemptively say no. Black and White 3 is the only major hit this year, and I'm pretty sure that's because it has Gold 97 to spring it up. Plus, it got limited ads, and I'm still salty about that. Spending a year chasing after success only to have it get thrown out the window due to the whims of the algorithm has made me rethink my approach once again. Because once more, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to think here. Why did my stats increase when I put less content out? Like, what do I say to that? What I can definitely say is that I still have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, and with analytics being so fickle and my free time being a roll of the dice, I might as well just go along and see what I end up with. Fuck it, we ball. My plan for 2024 is quite simple. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. No schedule, no careful selection of games to cover, no nothing. I spent a lot of 2023 worrying about my strategy not working out and failing to achieve my goals, and it frustrated me all day every day. I surrendered a lot of creative control to the whims of the algorithm, so seeing what happened halfway through December was a big kick in the balls. So out of spite, this time I'm going to do the opposite. Videos this year will include stuff that you can already expect me to do, and also stuff that nobody really asked for, but that I'm still going to do because I want to. Maybe I'll bring back that one passion project I've wanted to do for years. Maybe I'll finally get around to redoing old videos like Chaos Legion, so that I can give them the coverage they deserve, rather than the chunk I made back then when I barely had any experience. In other words, expect some curveballs. And as one would say, it'll be done when it's done. I have no specific timelines for any of it. I'll just go along with the videos one day at a time. I'm still not reverting the video titles though. Those are staying, for better or for worse. I think I'll start making more use of the community posts section too, and I might even silently fiddle around with shorts. Yes, I know, I hate them too, but it's clear that shorts are now part of the meta, and if I can attract a bigger audience by recycling haha funny bits from previous videos, then maybe it will all work out in the end. If it doesn't work out, well, it's not like my current strategy was doing all that great either. Oh, and hopefully I'll actually get back to photography, because I really did slack on it this year. Partially for reasons beyond my control, but still. So there you have it. We'll see if I make any changes halfway through the year, but for the first half, I'm just going to play it by ear and let my current skills and abilities make something out of it. And that's all for this channel update. I don't really have anything deeper to say. It's late, but I hope you've had a nice Christmas, and I wish you a happy new year.